Hello and welcome to Own It Magazine and Publishing. My name is Marisa Bludorn. I am your host, and sitting here with me is the handsome editor-in-chief of Off the Bench Magazine, Mark Wiggins. Welcome, Mark. How are you doing?
Girl, I'm good. I'm good. How you doing? How's
How
everything
you
down the
doing?
way? How's everything down the way? How you doing?
I am so good. I am so good. It's always nice to be taking center stage and owning it with you and all of your energy and presence. Love you so very much. I can't wait to have you here in the Dominican Republic in June of 2026. Not trying to rush a year away, but I'm really
Don't do
excited.
that. Right.
About
Don't rush it. Please don't.
I'm excited about all that you're doing, all that's coming through this year for you. To set their stage for our conversation today, I'm just going to add a little bit of a graphic so that people know exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about King Conversations. This is volume 2, people, of Conclave. This is a high meeting of the kings, and it's going to be taking place here in the Dominican Republic in June of 2026. And I'm talking with Mr. Wiggins. It's a good day, talking to him about the vision that he has and all that good stuff. Mark, what's on your mind about this project that's coming up? What can the guys, because listen, ladies, this is not for us. Actually, to be honest with you, it is for us, because when the men go away and things happen between them, they come back better. And so we do, inadvertently, we do get blessed by this. But this is a men's anthology, and it's a men's retreat, all men retreat. So, Mark, talk about what they can expect and experience. Talk to the people.
Talk to the people. All right. So the retreat has been crafted and created to do just what you said. It's really for us to get away from our normal daily grind and go somewhere foreign, like a foreign land. No, really, a foreign land, and to be amongst one another, so we can actually maybe let our guards down a little bit more, and to be authentic and semi-transparent. Because everybody says transparent, but are you really, really transparent? I don't think you could handle all of you. So I think there's a little bit of, but enough to make some changes internally. We need that. We need you to be honest and whatever. And I think when you get men together and do the things, because I take road trips with my chapter, Cap Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, does Leesburg chapter. And there's a group of about 20, 25 of us. Every year we go to a football game for the Commanders. You don't have to be a Commanders fan. We just travel. The fun we have, the conversations that we have, the stories we tell, and just being out. I just reunited, with my line brothers from back in '87, and some I hadn't seen in over 20 plus years. And we got back together. First, we went to the Keys, and we just had a great time. We walked, we talked, we reminisced, ran old stories, got some things straight, because sometimes history has a way of twisting stuff. But you left with the word I came up with was full. I was full. I didn't need to do anything extra after that. We had to, so this is what I'm after for this retreat. I want men to come, pour out, and come back full. Come back different and better. Everybody say better than you left. And you need to be, right? You should come back with a clear mind, some better processes, some new starting points, some regeneration. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I've gotten to this point. I'm going on to the next step. I'm going to level up. I'm going to own it. I'm going to take center stage. Insert any tagline that you like that keeps you to the next one. And that's what we're after on this retreat.
Awesome. And I want the gentlemen to understand you're going to be resting, relaxing. You have access to poolside, beachside, the spa. You'll be able to do the spa thing. There are so many things that you're going to be able to do here in the Dominican Republic to relax as well. And also, too, with this, you're going to have quiet time to do some introspective work. So I'm behind the scenes. So I'm just telling you, I'm sharing this just in case you don't realize that you can do these things. But other than that, I'm really behind the scenes. I am just a logistics architect, just making sure you gentlemen have what it is that you need when you're on the ground here, and a part of the publishing part. So I am the publisher of the book, but I'm really wanting to be behind the scenes. really bringing Mark out is so that you guys can hear from him the vision outside of your regularly scheduled meetings, that you can hear the vision and the soft part of what's coming and what you can experience. And so, Mark, when is it?
It was June 11th through the 14th. Is that right? 11th through the 14th,
Yeah.
2026.
Uh-huh.
Coming in on Thursday and kicking it out of there on a Sunday. If you need to stay, it's up to you. But that's when we're leaving. But I want to go back to something you said, Marisa, and it's imperative that when men need to understand about take that self-care piece, right? And that is actually one of the pillars, is a self-care component. And what that really looks like. We believe self-care is just staying at home and doing less stuff that everybody needs us to do, still being accessible. Like all this stuff. I'm talking about not being accessible. I think last year, or when someone says pull up, they weren't referring to what happened when I pulled up to the DR. I was on the whole ship, right? As I pulled up, I called you. I didn't know you were an hour away. My geography's not that great, but had I called you ahead of time, I knew you would have met in the port. Like I'd have seen you. But
Right.
we had a whole conversation on the ship, and I was like, the energy I felt about being away and being on my own and being nobody. I hadn't had to answer to anybody. People thought it's strange that I would travel by myself. I'm like, I got a whole rack of female friends. That's all they do. Don't know too many men that travel by themselves. Don't know too many men who travel by themselves because we think we have to have something or somebody around us. I had to go spend 4 days, 5 days with myself. Let me tell you something. I needed a vacation from hanging out with myself. But I walked away from that whole trip coming back like, will I do this again? Already rebooked, going back out. And
Yes.
tell everybody about it. You need to do this, right? And I'm gonna just talk about the stigma. Let's keep it a buck. Anytime, that's kind of broad. A lot of the times when men say they're getting together, or men are going off or going whatever, the other part of people we hang out with think that some shenanigans and BS is gonna pop off. Like that's why we're going. In my 30s, you would have a valid explanation for, yeah, this is gonna go down. When I travel with the bros, the Capitals are traveling. We know what I'm saying. we doing this for a whole different reason because we can and we need to.
Right.
The DR trip, coming out and leaving spouses and everybody behind, they should actually drop you off at the airport and say, well, holla, because they understand what's coming back from this trip is hopefully a better you, a more in tuned you, a recentered, refocused, aligned you, because that's what we need right now. And so just sometimes you just got to step on. I'm doing it. People may not like it. I lost a few friends behind that trip because they felt they should be going. I'm like, this is not for you. This wasn't even about you. It was about me. And that's probably the first time at this ripe old age of over 45, well over 45, that I did this for me. And I'm like, why did I wait so long?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Irrelevant. So, in my speech, I talk about begin where you are. So now we're just going to start. There's no explanations, no requirements, no. You can actually enjoy it more now because you have the resources and the time, the ability to do it.
Yeah.
So let's get together. Let's go. Let's come out.
And a lot of times we don't do things because that's not what was the conversations when we were kids. So if our parents or anyone in our circle did not talk about, all of these different things that we are now being exposed to and doing, then we didn't know. We didn't even know we had the option to do it. We didn't even know that there was an opportunity to do it. And so we didn't. One thing I learned, and it's so important for people to spend time by themselves because that's how you get to know yourself. That's why my recommendation to the fellows when they come, to the kings when they come, is to make sure you have that together time, but make sure you have that alone time. There's something about the salt in the sea that does something because it's actually in the atmosphere. So it's actually in our oxygen here in the DR, because we're right here on the Caribbean Sea. So all of that salt, it goes in, and there's a calming in the salt. You know how you have the lavender, you have the chamomile, all of these calming agents. Well, that's naturally in the air here. That's why the people here flow in a different way. So when people come off of that plane and they are riding up from the airport, you look to your right and there's nothing but but blue water. There's a huge body of blue water, and it just does something, if you're open to it, to the mind, to prepare you so that when your feet hit that sand and you get that grounding, that you can be open to the change. And there's something also too about getting away from your kindred, getting away from your family, getting away from the pull and the hustle and the bustle and the noise and the distractions and the setups and the traps and the snares, right? To get to a place where you could say, woosah, finally I can breathe. And so I want to, just as someone who really cares about you guys, is that you just take that moment in and have some you time, as well as you have your together time to reflect on some of the conversations that you're having, and do the necessary introspective work. And that's a part of self-love. Self-love is about not avoiding, but embracing what needs to be changed and transformed in your life. And I'll be honest with you. I came here by myself. I totally moved here by myself. I had a friend who helped me to navigate to get here, but for the most part, I'm really here by myself. And it's not dangerous. You just have to be cautious. You have to be conscious. I traveled to Dubai all by myself. I never left the country on that level before, where you're traveling. My travel to Dubai was about 18 hours. So you're thinking that I'm by myself doing plane transfers and all of that other stuff alone. It gives you a peace of mind, because sometimes it's nice to have company. Right? It's nice to have company, but then it's also nice to be quiet, because you don't have to, what we going to do? What we not going to do? Where we going to go? What we going to do? And if I don't want to do that, now I got to do it because I don't want to do it. You got to do it because you don't want so-and-so. So when you go by yourself, if you feel like getting up at any time in the morning, watching or doing or going somewhere and doing something, you don't have to be beholden to the company. You don't have to be beholden to them having an attitude or them not being cooperative. So sometimes it's good to do that whole, I agree with you, to do that whole by yourself thing. And it gets to, when you don't have anyone else around, you get to really know what it is that you really like to do and what you don't like to do. And then that way, when you come together with other folks, you can clearly say, yeah, you know what? I tried that. I don't really like it. So right. I'm not doing that. So you go ahead and do it. I'm happy for you, but let me stay over here in what I like to do. And you're able to do that. And then you're happy. You're happy inside relationships, and you're happy being by yourself. And so I just wanted to kind of really just be an encouragement to say, yeah, do that alone time thing, because we need it to heal. We need it to recover, to reset. And refocus. And so I want to show you, listen, this is a bad book, man. I look at this, and it ain't bad because I designed it, because all my creativity and everything comes from the source. And the source is the person who has the vision for it. So my energy, my creativity comes from the source. And Mark, you are the reason that birthed this. In fact, you picked the cover. You had a choice of what covers they're going to be. And this is a mean cover, just like your last cover for King Conversations Volume 1 was really, really good. And so here it is. It's Volume 2, V2, King Conversations. This is a book project, as well as it is an international retreat for men. It's an anthology of men and an international retreat. It will be held here in the Dominican Republic, June 26th. That's next year. So you have plenty of time if you would like to. Oh, wow. I think okay. All right. I'm looking at it and I'm saying, okay, the links are actually live here. But we will make sure that you have the link so that you're able to go and look at all the details, because on this particular site, it has all the information that you need in regards to what you're going to experience, et cetera, et cetera. My role is just the logistics architect and the publisher of the book. And just to answer any questions you have about traveling internationally here to the Dominican Republic, you do need your passport. So if you don't have a passport, you do need to have that. We do have, Mark has set up a series of meetings on a monthly basis as you lead up to the actual event, so that we can answer any questions that you may have, etc. Like I said, you see me, but you're not really going to see me. And I'm just here to support you guys, to just make such a transforming. It's life transforming. So we talked about in our other interview the experience that happened that actually catapulted you into doing a volume 2 and doing it on this level, that you have a key focus on King Conversations. You do a lot of work, but you are focusing and pouring in your time, because you see the importance of speaking in and allowing, because you said this is not about you, this is about the men coming together and getting what they want out of this experience. So talk about last year, talk about, because I want in the conversations that we have to make sure people get the depth of which this is so impactful. So talk about the experience last year of volume 1 that led you up to where you are right now.
Yeah, your volume 1 was just that whole process getting started to let's just walk it out, right? The sharing something that you have been given to do, right? Because this was not something I didn't write. This is part of my business plan. I'm gonna have this book. No, God woke me up and said, I need you to get this done. I said, oh wait, what? And it's a heart project, and you got to get this done. It's a legacy piece because of the conversations I was having with my son at that point in time, and other people seem to be having these conversations. So we put the book together, and then to have it come to life, have people actually buy into the project, have people to sell it and buy the book, and I'm steady still trying to launch them in their own space, because that's what I'm about, helping others get going. But apparently I got dragged along with my own success, right? So I get to the island, and everybody was there doing their thing, and I'm still holding this conversation for men. And when we did the first live recording of King Conversation, and the conversation we're having, it was a podcast, live action. I love, me, I'm loving the host role. I do this all day. And we're talking, and people are introducing themselves, a wide variety of men from different backgrounds. And one brother begins to share his story, right? His moment, his off the bench type moment. And he began to share more than I thought he was going to share, because the spirit was moving such. Maybe it was the waves and the salt in the air. Don't know, don't care, because what happened next was important. He begins to become emotional about he's going down. So brothers start wrapping around him and telling him, and it was silence as it was going. The audience was just quiet. And from being raised in the church, you don't stand and step on the spirit. Let the spirit move. Let it move. So we just stood there on silence. It seemed like about 30 minutes. It was probably about 15, 20 seconds. But that opened the gate for the rest of everybody else to continue conversation. Like, this is real. This is authentic. This is a safe space. And because it was a safe space, we began to have conversations the rest of the weekend. One-offs, down on the beach, up and smoke cigars, by passing comments, and just, I was thinking about such and such. I might got a question about this. And we're debating topics. Like, we were going back and forth. Nothing bad, but it was just good. And what I recognized too, as you were saying, I had to recognize, like, who do I really hang out with? Who do I, as Mark Wiggins, hang out with that actually pours into me? We can do all this pouring as speaker. The question has always been, where does the motivator go to get motivated? I will switch the question, go, where does the king go to become a better king? Conclave. It's Conclave. We do it in our fraternity, Cap Alpha Psi. When we have our conclave, it is a high-level meeting where everybody comes together. We elect new leaders. We talk about world agendas and our platform going forward, training sessions, leadership sessions. We walk out there better, everybody say better, than we walked in. Conclaves are necessary. They're necessary. And with conversations that we had, may or may not be discussed anywhere else, because that's where it has to happen. And it can only happen amongst us when we get together. So when kings get together, we've got questions. Questions about raising kids, questions about kids leaving and readjusting back to empty nesting, loss of business, loss of a spouse, everything, whatever we're dealing with. Where are we going to have these conversations and saying, I don't know what to do with this?
Yes.
I'm going to keep forward because I'm a man, I'm going to make it forward. But where do we go? How do we deal with this? And sometimes we just need people to listen who understand. We don't have an answer for you, bro, but go ahead and let it out.
Yeah.
And that alone, as a brother of a psychologist, she has told me that also is therapeutic, and it's also necessary to get it, as I say, out of you and into the ether, so we can deal with it, right? Stop
Yes.
holding stuff in. So this is what this is about. There will be time for spas, massages, or whatever, because I'm taking that time. This is what I do. And I think, and what's going to be interesting, Marisa, I promise you, there'll be some men in this group who may or may not have experienced this. And they're
Yes.
not going to be 25 years old. They may be, hopefully, there's some young bros that come, but they're going to be a little bit older and have yet to be able to do these things. Some may never have traveled without their spouse or their significant other because, oh, she's not going to let me go. This ain't
Right.
about that. This is not that trip. If she don't let you, you need to have a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
this
And
is
that's in, and of course, you know, me being a woman thought about that too, was that the challenge that men would have in getting away. And I want to just share with women, it's important for them to have this space so that they can go and get away. And the trust has to be there, right? The trust is what is the thing that would hold a spouse back from saying, hey, could you go? Or the need of their presence, whatever it is, their responsibilities that they do. But this is a short weekend and you can make provisions, and there's time enough in the preparation and the journey up to June of next year. There's time to prepare for that absence, and I would just recommend it. And I recommend men of from adulthood. Well, you know, you old enough to travel, get your passport and travel alone. I think that it's necessary because it needs to be cross generational too. Because our young men are struggling with who is a good role model, who is a good person to follow after. I'm always I love Lecrae,
Mhm.
and Lecrae talks to be, you know, I want to be just like you. You know, I walk like you, even talk like you. You know, I want to grow up to be just like you. Those are the lyrics. But then it talked about a role model that was not positive. You know, and because that role model was not positive, he took on those bad traits and became gone down a bad. But he said, but I just wanted to be just like you. You know, and then of course he goes back on the right road and on the right path because of his own internal convictions that say, no, this is not the right way to go. This is the right way. And we need more men that talk about that in regards to what we'll go into that because we have more interviews because we kind of like out of time. But what I do want to position us to talk about is that mentorship you talked about. Who is pouring into the one who is out here being the positive voice that is pretty much less heard of? We hear more of the negative, men cheating, men doing this and men doing that and all of this other stuff. The voice of light has to be more profound, more visible, so that we could dispel all of those, because everybody's not cheating. Everybody is not cheating. All men do not have a heart to go out and do the wrong thing. They want to do the right thing. And what are the ways that we could set the conditions, right, and the environment in which supports doing the right thing? And that is through mentorship. That is through coaching, just like you said. You know, men coming together, and it is cross generational. It is cross generational. I think that India Irie has lyrics. I love music. So India Irie has, if the generations can talk together. That's one of her lyrics in one of her songs, is that if old people could talk to young people, the difference that we would see in the results that we get, because it does take a village. And so I want you to, Mark, close us out. This is King Conversations, if you've not heard us say it already. V2, Volume 2. It's an anthology of men as well as a international men's retreat. And so, Mark, your closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts are simply this. This is the project that's waiting for you and the one you've been waiting for, not because of the book, but because of the retreat. And if you can't do the book, but you can do the retreat, great. You can do both, awesome, but pick one. And I feel like if you do the book, you're going to want to come to the retreat because you want to see the results of what happens in the continuing conversations One of the other issues that we're going to be addressing, that's being addressed by me and my squad, are we go to these events, we get all hyped up and whatever, and by Wednesday, we're back down because we have nowhere to go. So we're building out a space to continue the conversation after the retreat, because the conversation is not over. We need to continue to stay together and do it. And from that, from the internet radio show that's coming, from the other stuff that's coming out of this event, is going to be that platform going forward. So you have somewhere to go afterwards. So think about it strongly and get involved, right? If you've never done a book before, this is a great time to do it. It's not you writing a whole book. That is a whole chore. Give me 1,500 words. I'm sure you can muster 1,500 words and make it make sense. And if you do nothing but tell your story that you grew up on, the one that changed your life, I like to say your off the bench moment, that time in business, that time in your relationship, that time with that parent reconciliation, that time you hated your parent, and whatever it is, someone is going to be blessed by what you have to say. And this is that project. We want the Kings to come together because I need to hear from you, right? I need to be lifted up. I need to have something to fall back on as well. So I'm depending on you, Kings, to come on down to the DR, get in this book project, and let's leave our legacy from now on. Let's do that.
Oh, awesome. We're just going to live this. We're going to put this visual up so you can see it. Mark Wiggins, Conclave. This is King Conversations Volume 2. It's being held here in the Dominican Republic. The location is the Emotions all-inclusive retreat resort. Quick access to all pools and the beach. What I love about Emotions is it is a boutique style resort, meaning that it's small enough. You don't feel like you're so distant from everything. And so you'll be getting relaxation on the beach, like Mark said, spa, have yourself time, come together collectively in the brotherhood and having some deep conversations. And so we just want to say thank you so much for being with us for this 30 minutes, because we were doing a quick in and out. But you know what? We had to say what we had to say, and we pray that you've been blessed with these words and that you take the opportunity to participate. You want to be, this is what, when you said, do the book or do the retreat, but you want to be in the room where it happens. You want to be in the room where it happens. And so we just want to say, love you so very much. Be blessed. And we will be back soon to continue this conversation. We're out.